Hello, this is Spicy. Today I want to talk about how I draw furry heads. Now this is not the end-all be-all on how to draw furries, but I just wanted to share a few techniques I use. Alright, so number one is gathering references. Right now I'm on Pexels and I just looked up Fox because Fox is my go-to. And I'm trying to look for a straight-on view of a fox. Alright, this one kind of works. There's a bit of a head tilt to it, but it still works. We're going to download it. And I just opened this up in Windows Paint. You can use whatever you want. If you have something like Photoshop or Clip Studio with a tablet, that works too. And I'm just gonna use the line tool because I'm just using a mouse right now. I'm gonna try to use a nice bright color to make sure things stand out. So right now I'm just looking for geometric shapes within the fox image. So just looking for just kind of straight lines. It's more of a polygon rather than a circle. And just looking at the snout, it has kind of looks like a trapezoid, I guess. All right, and there we go. And now we have our rough shapes, and then we can see how this fox is built. And this also helps with shading. For example, as you can see, like where the eyes are, it's a little bit darker, and that's because if you look at the skull of a fox, the eyes are kind of more sunken in. Using reference is very important, especially when you're starting out, and then that way you can build on your knowledge and memory of whatever it is you're drawing. Alright, so now we're just going to our paper. This is just regular printer paper. I'm going to draw a straight line and then a circle. I'm using a 2H pencil. Just whatever tools you have. So I'm going to draw the polygon shape for the head. Now this circle is just going to be a guideline. It's not what we're going to base everything entirely on. Don't feel bad if like the circle is not perfect or anything. We're going to go over it. Pretty much more or less copy what I saw with all those shapes. I don't necessarily have to draw all the shapes down, but it's just to like visually see how this critter is constructed. Now this would actually be easier if you use the symmetry tool on some sort of digital art program, but yeah, we're just doing pencil for now. And then I'm just gonna add a quick neck to it. I'm gonna go over this in pen. You can use like ballpoint pen or whatever. I personally just like to do this because it's easier to see what's going on and you don't have to deal with all the construction lines below. For me personally, drawing with pen helps me practice to do lines, which helps both in digital art and traditional art. As I go super sketchy with the pencil, I try to get nice clean lines with either a darker pencil or pen. And there you have it. Add some eyebrows and some cheek fur. I found it helpful to try to see where the cheeks are. It helps also with shading. I'm just adding a little bit like just random little fur details. I didn't love how the ears turned out. I'm just like cutting them, just trimming them down. Like if this was digital art, yeah, I would just erase it, but it's pen, so it is what it is. And then we're gonna try to see if we can draw a different angle. I'm just gonna take my ruler and try to copy these lines more or less. Do where the eye starts. So it's like a bit of a tilt. It's fine, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, like everything else, it's a guideline. It's not a strict rule. I'm just getting the bottom of the chin and it's sort of the neck too. As you can see, the lines aren't perfect, but it's just easier to visualize things. Gonna draw a straight line. Now, if you're going for like more action and everything, instead of drawing a straight line, so this is the line of action, you could draw a curve and then you can follow along with that. We have our circle again. Once again, not perfect, but it's just a little guideline. I'm just trying to match where the eyes are. So over here, that's the bottom of the eye. This is just the side view of an eye. There are several tutorials on how to draw the eyes from the side. You just have to like imagine the eyeball as like an imperfect circle and it being covered by eyelids. I'm just like looking up another reference real quick of a fox's side view. And you can do the same thing, like add the construction lines to see where things are. I'm just gonna eyeball it and see where it goes. So the forehead is a lot flatter. It's not a circle. Unlike humans, foxes don't have as circular heads, so I'm just cutting through that circle. And based on stylistic choices, you can make the snout as long or short as you want. Foxes usually have very long snouts, but I like to go a little bit shorter just for style purposes. And yeah, as you can see, the back of the head is super round, but based on the reference, it's not that round. I'm just gonna erase the circle because it's getting a little bit distracting and I don't need those lines anymore. I actually decided to erase the eye because I kind of want it to match the front-facing one, so have a eye closed. Give it a little bit of hair. And there we have it. They don't match exactly, but I definitely get a rough idea. And this helps for future reference, because then I could just also, for like more cartoony stuff, I just sometimes just start drawing the eyes, no construction lines, give it a little nose, follow the polygon shape sort of, little ears. And yeah, it's just like a little cartoony doodle. And this is just based off of memory. It's not perfect, but I don't know, I personally like the little silly doodles. And so if you're like, oh wait, I mean, my persona or whatever is not just a fox, and you could do the same technique with any other animals. So like here, I'm just gonna look up animal, and oh look, there's a tiger, front-facing tiger. I'm gonna load it into paint again and start adding the construction lines. And as you can already see, the shapes are quite different from what the fox was. Tigers are a little bit more bulky, more roundish, squarish, rather than like triangle shaped. Like for example, look at this muzzle. It's so different from the fox. But yeah, you can do this with pretty much any animal. Even if you have like a fantasy animal, like a dragon or something. If there's like a style, say you like how they draw the dragon in How to Train Your Dragon, you can see how they did the shapes for it, and then you can go over and see what you want to change, what you want to keep, and you can be as realistic or cartoony as you want. Personally, I think it's good to practice more realistic drawings first before you start breaking the rules. Really popular phrase being like, you gotta know the rules before you start breaking them. I highly recommend checking out other tutorials by other people. Likely they have a different approach that you can add to your style, or some tips and tricks that I totally missed. There are a lot of tutorials on human anatomy, which you can combine with animal head to make a furry. And of course, checking out the fundamentals, like drawing three-dimensional shapes and lighting. It will help level up your art a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye!